Let's go to Nairobi and speak to Ahmed Kaballo, a Sudan affairs analyst, the CEO and founder of African Stream. It's a Pan-African digital media organization. Ahmed, thanks so much for joining us. How is this civil war still continuing? Where are they finding the money? Where are they finding the fighters? Where are they getting the weapons?
That's the best question you could have asked to start this off, because, there's all this conversation about a ceasefire and access to humanitarian aid, but that's really just putting a plaster over the situation. What we need is the war to stop. The war is causing these conditions. The war is causing 25 million people to be facing acute malnourishment. It's causing up to 6 to 7 million people to be in stage 5 of hunger. It's causing the world's worst humanitarian crisis. I heard you say in your introduction, it's one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Well, according to the UN, it's actually the worst humanitarian crisis. It's also the worst place in terms of food hunger. It's the worst place in terms of protection for civilians. Every single list that you wouldn't want to be on the bottom of, Sudan is on the bottom of. And this could be stopped with one phone call from the Secretary of State or the US President to the Emirati leader, the UAE leader, Mohammed bin Zayed, and say, stop funding the RSF. The RSF gets its weapon via Libya, via Chad. It uses that to rearm the RSF to continue this war. This is a gun-for-hire mercenary group. They're fighting because they've been paid to fight. They fought in the Saudi and Emirati war on Yemen because they were paid to fight. They had nothing against the Yemeni people. They were told by the Saudis and the Emiratis to fight, so they fight. If they're told to stop fighting, they will stop fighting. It's as simple as that. And all of these conversations that are about to happen in the UN next week when they meet at the UN General Assembly, if it doesn't address that fundamental questions to stop the arms, to stop the weapons, to stop the illegal smuggling of gold from the Darfur region towards Dubai, entering the legal gold trade market, but it's illicitly smuggled out of the continent. Unless we stop those things, this war will continue. And the people of Sudan are desperate for it to stop, desperate for it to stop. My family members have all left Sudan. They're desperate to go home. But in some ways, they're the lucky ones, because the people that are in Sudan, they're the ones that are facing the real hardship.
Yeah, Ahmed, there's also the biggest mass displacement of people anywhere in the world. You're quite right to highlight how bad it is. Maybe the world isn't paying as much attention because it's a domestic conflict at the UN General Assembly. Obviously, they'll talk about Israel's attacks on Gaza. They'll talk about the Russia-Ukraine war. I have a question for you that's not quite an analytical one, but more an emotive one. What are the two sides doing? They're both accused of war crimes. They're both killing their own people.
Yes, they are both killing their own people. And you're right, it's not a simple black and white, good versus bad. The Sudanese army has committed many atrocities. And let's not forget, it's the Sudanese army that not only created the Janjaweed, which later morphed into the RSF, it also invited the RSF into the Khartoum capital to push down protesters in 2013, 2014. And then the leader of the Sudanese army, Al-Burhan, made Hemeti his deputy in the Supreme Council during the transitional military stage. So there is, of course, there's culpability and accountability on both sides. However, to be clear, and I have to represent the views of the Sudanese people. The Sudanese people right now are overwhelmingly behind the army against the RSF, because they don't see this, as you described it, as a domestic conflict between two domestic sides. They see this as a battle for sovereignty, as a battle to keep Sudan as one state. The RSF is trying to annex Darfur, trying to annex Kordofan, and trying to cause a partition in Sudan, and using that to bargain for access to the port, which of course we know the UAE is very interested in. So this is a battle for sovereignty. This is a new battle for independence, and the army should be held accountable, but that's in the long term. The short-term efforts, everyone is behind defeating the RSF and gaining back control of our country.
Ahmed Kaballo, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. Ahmed, take care.